Hey everyone, the movie we discuss tackles issues around animal abuse and violence in general. If that's not your cup of tea, maybe move on to the next episode. Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoy the show. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 9 of the Conquest of Popcorn. I'm Bardo.
I'm Pinko.
And we're joined today by our very first guest, who we're both very excited to have on board. This is Pooch, our good friend from Twitter. Hi, Pooch.
Hello. How's it going? I'm super excited to be here.
We're excited to have you.
In the flesh.
In the voice.
Yeah,
yes.
It's working, it's recording, your voice is coming through. I don't know how any of this works, and so I'm just feeling hashtag blessed to
Yes, every day, hashtag blessed.
every day.
Yeah.
How's your week been, my friend? How is life?
Good. I've been up in so I'm actually from South Carolina, but I'm up in DC this week.
I love I love going to South Carolina. I don't know if I would love to live there, but I love going to South Carolina. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, you're fine not living there. But yeah, I've been up in DC because I'm in between grad classes right now, so I've been in the belly of the beast.
Anything fun happening up there?
We've just been like going around in museums and stuff, and like there are all of these middle school kids like on these huge field trips, and like every time we see a group, there are at least like 5 or 6 kids that have like MAGA hats on.
Oh no!
No!
Yeah, because they're like.
It's fun to
like,
flip them off their heads.
For little kids.
Like,
yeah.
It's really
Teach them early.
But I also like don't want to get like one of the chaperones to attack me or something. I don't know.
No, that's fair.
I chaperoned my first field trip recently, and I don't think I'd have started a fight with anyone.
No.
Yeah.
Terrifying experience.
They probably want somebody to do it, honestly.
Oh my god.
But they've been like, they're like, there's like I Love New York T-shirts.
Yeah.
That are like everywhere. They're kind of, from what I've seen, they're like selling, like presidential stuff, or like, like a Stars and Stripes like T-shirt or whatever.
Oh yeah,
So
there was
like,
crap like that.
So I think like half of, obviously it doesn't excuse it or whatever, but I think like half of it is like, oh cool, like there's a MAGA hat here, and so they're wearing like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it's just like these little like chuds in the making, like little, like boys.
That's funny. All my kids hate Trump, like so much. Like their social studies teacher always gives them these articles that are kind of like, they're meant for kids, but they have a pretty pro-Trump slant. And the kids are always just like, fuck Trump, he's a racist. And like this teacher cannot get through a whole class with them. And like my school, there's maybe like 4 white kids in the whole school. So like really, like none of them are gonna like Trump, but I think it's funny.
Yeah, all of these kids I've seen have been of the fairer complexion, so to speak.
Yes.
Yeah. We actually like. So I'm here with a friend too. So like we're just kind of wanted to go on a little trip, but we went to the Holocaust Museum.
Oh, heavy.
Yeah.
Fuck. Like I
refuse to go there.
I've been once like in middle school, but apparently it was packed. Like we didn't. Apparently we should have gotten tickets before, so we didn't actually get to see like the main stuff. But even there are like all these middle school kids like walking around looking at stuff with like MAGA hats on.
That's
oh whoa.
Yeah, that's so
poor
fucking
taste.
weird.
Poor taste.
Yeah, it's like ooh, like it's just physically uncomfortable to see it, but it's just like I don't know. They have this whole exhibit. I think it's probably because of Trump. It's like America and America and the Holocaust, like before World War II, and it was actually really interesting.
They talk about America turning away Jewish refugees and stuff.
Yeah. That's
oh,
like
really?
Oh shit.
That's like all it was about. So it was like I think like the point of it was like don't let this happen again, kind of
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to get a parallel, but it's like I don't know, like seeing all these like 12-year-old kids like with MAGA hats or like MAGA these like I don't know which like those fishing hats, the ones that like go all the way around.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, like bucket hats? I think that's what
they've
they're called.
expanded the MAGA bucket hats.
But
now.
the ones with the floppy brim.
Yeah,
right?
they're like a bucket hat.
Yeah.
Is that a bucket hat?
I thought that's what they were called. I don't know. I could be wrong.
So there's that, and then we went another story before. I guess like since we're off on a tangent.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, no, go off
Take it
on your
away.
tangents. Tangents are fun.
Yeah. We went. So like my friend and I, we like to shoot guns and stuff like that. So we'll go out in the country and like just kind of like he has some land out there, and we just do target practice and stuff like that. I'm trying to radicalize him, but step by step.
Yeah, absolutely. Good on you.
Do what?
Good on you.
Yeah. But we were like driving back home and we saw the exit. It was like National Firearms Museum. So we were like.
That sounds so boring.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It was, but we were like, I know, I'm like the boring museum person. Like all we've done is say museum. But we were like looking at it. We were like, yeah, let's do this. And come to find out, it's like in the NRA building.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah. But we were like, fuck it, it's free. Like we were like, okay, it's free. We don't have to feel bad about this. But it was just like, I don't know. It was on one hand, like seeing all the guns was like really cool, but like as soon as we got there, they have like the Blue Lives Matter flag. Like,
oh fuck!
God, those are everywhere here.
Yeah. Delaware loves their blue lives.
I may or may not have pulled off some masking tape from the back of someone's window. Do they do that in DC?
Yeah.
Like people have that blue painter's tape on their car.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah, we have a lot of those. So like, I don't know. I keep like. I walk my dog in this neighborhood across the street from me, and so like I'm just like over there like 5 times a day, like when I don't have internship. But like I keep a tally of like whose car like has like a strip on it or whatever, and like if he shits there, I just leave it.
Good dog.
Yeah, that's good praxis. I'm very into this. It's cool.
That's hilarious.
Just little things like that. Like one person got really mad at me, but I was just like, whatever. But yeah, that's my solid practice.
You wore your Street Fight T-shirt to this NRA museum today, right? Did I see that correctly?
Yeah.
That's cool as
dude.
fuck.
So I was like, I brought this shirt because I was like, I'm gonna be seeing all these like, the like museums and statues of all these like dead slaver assholes and stuff. So I was like, might as well bring like something. I have a lot of normal clothes. So I was like, well, I'll wear this there. Nothing really happened because there really weren't that many people there.
Okay,
there was just like some guy who let me in. I mean, there's a lot of propaganda in the museum, in like the actual exhibits, obviously, but like the guns were actually kind of. It was kind of cool. It was like,
Yeah, if you're into guns, it's cool.
From Inglourious Bastards, where the guy has like the little gun on the glove.
Yeah.
Like punches. They had that in there.
Oh, that's cool.
Fuck. That's cool as hell.
Yeah, so I was like, holy shit, this is real. Like, or at least like it was probably a prop. They didn't have it labeled, but I was like, I wonder if this is like actually a thing.
I know they did these weird like cheaply, I forget what they're called now, like mass-produced one-shot pistols that were really shitty and they like airdropped them into France. I don't know if that would be a similar type of thing.
They had like guns that had like 8 barrels on them and stuff, and like
that's a little overkill.
Yeah, but it was like you'd have to load them all at once. Or like they had one that was like it looked like a 3, so it was like one barrel sticking out at like a 45-degree angle, like to the left, then like one in the middle, and then like another one to the
How
right.
would you aim that?
Yeah, wait, what is?
So it looks like a W.
What are you doing with that?
I don't know.
Wait, are they all like pointing in the same direction, or is it just like literally pointing?
No.
That's absurd.
Yeah. Like if you make a W with your fingers, it looks exactly like that. So.
I was like, what was that? There's that story about those birds that were like used to fly around in huge packs around the United States, and that were literally hunted to extinction because you could just like shoot into the sky a whole bunch of times. And what were those fucking things called?
It was either dodos or like pheasants, I think.
Dodos are big, like, or not big, but they're walking birds of some kind. But there's some sort of pheasant thing. I forget what they're fucking called now, but they were. I'm just imagining.
Yeah, you could just shoot them out of trees.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just imagining that like this triple barrel gun was used for just like shooting into the sky to hit 3 birds.
But even it was like a pistol though.
Oh, what
like
the
a
fuck?
tiny little pistol.
Oh, okay. Now I have no idea what this could possibly be for. I'm totally baffled.
Like just I don't know, take it up behind somebody, turn it sideways, and just shoot him in the spine. I guess. I'm like, I don't know. I was like the image in my head was like a bear right in front of somebody. Like so, it's like, well, I can't miss with this.
Was it a passenger pigeon?
Yeah, it was passenger pigeons. Thank you, Pinko.
My Google powers are unmatched.
They're strong.
Nice. Google how bird killed Washington D.C.
It was American bird hunted to extinction. So
yeah,
easy enough.
Yeah.
So speaking of dog praxis.
Oh yeah. It's good segue. Thank you.
Yeah, our movie today is it's called White God, which I think is sort of an unfortunate name.
Yeah, I was really expecting something different from the name.
But it has nothing to do with like white supremacy, which is what it makes it sound like it's gonna be. It's about dogs getting revenge on humans who are bad to them.
Yeah.
A dog uprising.
I had to. I mean, y'all probably know this. I was trying to figure it out where the name was from because I was like, oh, this dog is going to be like a white dog.
Yeah, I thought that too when I heard about it.
He's not really white.
He's like
brown.
I really don't know why.
So I know there's some like director's commentary on the DVD or something like that where he explains what it is, but all the websites I was finding were just talking about how it's explained on the commentary, and I didn't have enough time to like actually find this piece and figure out what it was. Do you know what it is?
I have no idea.
Fuck.
I was trying to do the same.
I have no idea.
Like probably like 10 minutes before, I'm like, oh, I gotta know something about this movie. So I was like Googling it up, and I was like, I don't know. I expected it to be obvious, but it wasn't.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, I assume it has to do with the fact that it's translated from something Hungarian, and there must be some sort of cultural context in there that is just.
That was kind of my guess. Like if maybe like the translation, it has more meaning if you can speak Hungarian.
Yeah.
Which I cannot.
Oh no.
Oh darn. No. Well, we thought you could. That's why we invited you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can speak dog, so I can.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, good. So,
perfect.
Cool. You're ahead of us.
Yeah, but so it sets the scene like right away. I mean, so this is a movie about animal revenge at the very base level of what this movie is about. And it sets the scene with the character that we're going to meet as our main character's dad, who's just like, who's a meat inspector, and they're slaughtering, or not slaughtering, they're butchering. They're butchering a cow. And the first fascinating thing about this that Pinko pointed out was that there was just one cow being torn apart.
I was wondering if it was like a nice boutique sort of butcher, or if it was just like because they took this
Like
one cow to
industrial.
inspect it.
Yeah.
Or
this is the inspection room.
is
I
this
don't know.
I was
just how-
expecting like Rocky, like all
Yeah. Although I don't know, like I've known people who raise cows, and they'll like take their one cow that they're gonna butcher to somebody to butcher it. So
Yeah.
maybe that's what it's like.
But
I don't know.
Or the rest of the world just doesn't, or not the whole rest of the world, but much of the rest of the world is not practicing factory farming at quite the extreme level that we are.
That's also possible.
I'm curious about this.
That's
I
true.
don't know.
I think there was just a cow shortage that day.
Maybe.
Also possible.
That's how I'm. So.
But even that's like a beautiful image to think that there's not just like a field packed with like hundreds of cows that are to be picked off at any time. But
Yeah.
but yeah, we meet this dad who we learn right away hates dogs and gum.
Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
a strict authoritarian type, so we have to have the stereotypical
Yeah,
like
spitting the gun out in the hand.
yeah, it's
the-
such a
The
like
classic, like,
power move on a kid.
But the kid is being dropped off. Her mom and her mom's boyfriend are going away to some conference for like 3 months or something in Australia.
I don't know why the daughter couldn't come,
But she has to
Yeah.
stay with her mean old dad who is just like
he's
straight
kind
up.
of a bitter divorced dude.
Yeah.
oh, definitely. When you see him in his tidy whities, I'm like, this is a divorced dad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his like refusal to like pay the fine or the fee for the dog. It's like, I'm not giving your mother any more money. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, it's not about her. Like, it's, this is your kid. But okay.
Yeah, but that's the sort of other big premise going on here is that Hungary has created some law outlawing mixed breed dogs, or like they keep referring to them as mixed breed street dogs as opposed to like Hungarian breeds, purebreds.
Yeah.
And there's like a tax that's levied. It actually doesn't sound like it's that big a deal to keep a mixed breed dog, but for some reason the mom has not paid for it. I don't know why.
Yeah, and she seems like she can afford it. She looks like a fancy sort of lady.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
Yeah,
just like
she's like
general.
flying over to Australia.
Yeah, and she's
once.
dressed all nice. Maybe it's just like, wealthy people just refusing to do the thing that everyone else has to do.
That's-
or she just never got around
Maybe
to it.
maybe it was like, because the dog is with the dad. So like maybe like because it seems like, I mean, my guess was that the woman that gets mad at them is like their landlord or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
It's
some
either their
busybody
landlord or, like,
neighbor.
their neighbor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe it was like you had to have a permit to have that dog there.
Oh,
That was
maybe.
like my guess. Maybe.
That's definitely. I hope that's the case, and that the mom is not just awful and is like.
No, well, I know that when I read the description of this, it was that there was a nationwide registry of mixed breeds, and you had to pay a tax if you had one,
Yeah, I don't
or
know.
they would confiscate it. Like, I
Yeah.
think it's supposed to be some sort of allegory for like registering people. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I mean, they sort of allude to that in a few points. They do that. Like mutt is a derogatory.
Oh yeah, she
Through
corrects.
this.
Yeah.
Lily corrects somebody who calls her dog a mutt.
Yeah, and she's like, it's a mixed breed, and immediately I went to, this is contemporary USA, and it's like a proper leftist doesn't call anyone an illegal or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And I sort of,
Hang on.
oh,
Okay.
Penny, hello. She has things to
Penny's
say
got
about.
thoughts.
Penny's got thoughts, but I don't think about this movie.
No, it's about our neighbors walking around.
But yeah, right away. I mean, they do this sort of, I guess I sort of read it again like they're hiding a I don't know, any sort of oppressed person in their home, and the snitch neighbor tells.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he bit me.
Yeah, and he never bit her.
No.
Ugh, you should have to produce evidence if you're going to claim somebody's dog bit you.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like dogs should never go to jail anyways, but...
I know, I agree.
Yeah.
I always worry about that, like, 'cause my dog kind of hates people, and especially, like, people that she doesn't know. And some people just don't know how to be, like, back off when you say my dog isn't friendly. And... I don't know. One day she might bite somebody, and then what am I gonna do?
She's not a biter.
She's not, but if you push a dog enough,
my dog like hates people who sell dogs to other dog fighters.
Yeah, I mean, they can sniff it out. You know, they know.
The one thing to just jump back a little bit before we learn that this neighbor has sold out this dog is we engage a little bit more with this tumultuous relationship between Lily, who's our protagonist's name, and her father, the meat inspector. But he does not want to sleep in the same room as the dog, so he makes her keep the dog in the bathroom, where it just like kind of cries all night long, until she pulls out her trumpet and plays this piece of music that is a reoccurring theme throughout the movie. It's Hungarian Rhapsody No. 2. This is foolish, I didn't write down who it was by, but it's like a really famous piece of music that...
Yeah, I remember the guy's name. Wasn't it like, something Litz, I believe?
I mean,
List? I don't know who it is anyways. So.
List is like a rock star.
What?
Have you ever heard that song Listomania?
Listomania? No, what are you talking about?
Okay, never mind. First of all, I have to make sure this is the right composer.
No, I mean...
I think it's like a composer.
Franz Liszt. You're right.
So Liszt was like one of the first like super famous composers, and people went fucking bonkers at his concerts. Like women would like throw their underwear at him. There's a song called Listomania by Phoenix. Yeah, and it's just about this. People called it Listomania. Like, he was just some guy and a famous composer in the, the 1800s. Yeah. Listomania was characterized by intense levels of hysteria demonstrated by fans akin to the treatment of celebrity musicians today, but in a time not known for such musical excitement. People thought he was a babe.
Nice. So it was like the rock and roll of the day where everybody was like, this is devil music.
Yeah.
But it's just like violins and trumpets and...
It was like Beatlemania, but for Liszt.
And like very nationalistic. Like this piece in particular is like, it's Hungarian Rhapsody. It's like a piece about Hungary, which I think actually plays into how this ends and some other things in there. But it's also notable from being in lots of cartoons for its, Tom and Jerry, Mickey Mouse, and like a whole bunch of like, what are those like Disney learning cartoons called? I forget what they're called now. Musical.
Like the ones in the 30s or...
Yeah, but like the funny medleys, but they have a better name than that.
I don't know.
That's okay.
I can't believe there's a Disney thing that my mom neglected to show me as a child. But my mom loves Disney. Like, she has a picture in her bathroom of Mickey Mouse saluting an American flag.
It's beautiful.
That's how much my mom likes Disney.
I remember you saying that. In one of the episodes, I think.
Did I? Oh, gosh. Well, I've said this two times now.
We're only 9 episodes in. Come on.
I'm repeating jokes already. Shit. Well, it's still true. It's not a joke.
Yeah, I'm going to call you out on it every time and embarrass you on your show.
Good. No, please do. But yeah, whatever the case, Silly Symphonies, I think is what they were called.
Oh, yeah, that sounds about right.
But she gets the dog to sleep with this silly symphony. And yeah, they wake up the next morning and the animal control's at their door. They let it slide this time, but she takes the dog to band with her. She's in some sort of
like children's orchestra thing.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of prestigious is part of the idea of it.
And it's got like a very authoritarian instructor, which I don't know why they're like that, but the one I had in high school was
band teachers.
And
it seems that way, and everybody thinks they're like a genius sort of.
Yeah.
It's just an asshole.
Yes, my band instructor, who I'm not going to name because everybody in my state will get mad because he's very well known and well liked, but he was such an asshole. He would like corner people and scream in their faces and throw things at people. He threw a stand at somebody once, and he would say like really inappropriate jokes all the time that were really mean, and he really liked Wagner.
Yeah, but he's just a misunderstood genius.
No, he was just an asshole. I blocked him on Facebook after I graduated because I don't know if anyone remembers this. It was like a long time ago. There was this sex worker in Texas who was killed by a client after she didn't have sex with him after he paid her. And he was let off based on some weird Texas stand your ground law that you can kill somebody in defense of property. It was like $200.
Good God.
Yeah, and I was like writing on Facebook how dangerous this precedent is for sex workers and how ridiculous it is that someone's life was worth $200. And he commented on it like it's not like she died defending her honor, and I was just like,
oh my God, what
holy shit, you teach children. Like, fuck.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it was bad.
I don't know the meaning of this. Maybe there's greater meaning to this, maybe there's not. But when they first like get into the band room, when she's like hiding this dog in a closet in the band room, which is normal behavior, right? Everyone just does that shit.
Dogs definitely act quiet when they're put into closets.
Yeah, in band rooms. But there's
I watched this like whole movie like imagining like this dog is my dog. I'm like, there's no way. Like
me too.
Like, my dog would have stayed there for half a second while I'm outside of it.
Yeah, no chance. But there's this French horn player, and he just like there's just like this hint of the Internationale that he plays as they're like all warming up and noodling around. And I was do we think that there's any higher meaning to this in the context of this film?
So either he was... Okay, so we were trying to think if this movie had some sort of communist undertones, and I don't know if it really does or not.
Hungary does not have a great relationship, or did not have a great relationship with the Soviet Union.
Yeah, and considering that the Hungarian nationalist song is like an important force for good in this movie, I'm wondering if the Internationale was supposed to be like introducing the band instructor as some kind of horrible authoritarian.
Definitely possible.
Or was it the kids rebelling against him? I don't know.
Yeah,
one way or the other.
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it could go either way. I mean,
yeah.
Like, I didn't even really catch it at first.
I didn't either till Barto pointed it out, but
I'm nothing but a decent ear.
well, yeah, you like music. I had my love of music beaten out of me from an early age by being forced to do the clarinet for so many years.
I had like no musical talent. I tried to do saxophone like in high school.
My sister played sax.
Yeah,
me too.
But because I was like, oh, this is like the coolest instrument.
Lisa Simpson instrument. Yeah.
But like I have an anxiety disorder, and like I would sit in this tiny room with this instructor guy, and it was just like super claustrophobic, and I would like get nauseous like about to play. I'm like, can I go to the bathroom real quick? And and it was just like I could not play this instrument.
That sounds awful.
Also I can't read music.
Why were you in a tiny room with an instructor? Or was it like private lessons?
It was like at the music college and like at USC.
Oh.
So they would just have like these tiny practice rooms. So I would just be sitting in there like with this other guy, and I was like, oh my God, this is like not even a threat. I was just like, oh, I'm nervous.
Yeah, That sounds awful.
I took private lessons on saxophone for years and drums for a little while, and I don't have necessarily like more than average anxiety, I guess, but those are like terrible situations to find yourself in a tiny room with someone who's just judging you on your abilities, and there's nowhere for your abilities to hide. You're the only sound in the room, and it just fucking sucks.
And I'm like, and so for mine, it gets like I would get like nauseous or like get sick or whatever, and so like I have to have this like reed in my mouth. I'm like
oh yeah, totally.
I was like about to barf. I was like, I gotta go, and he was like, okay, he does this every time he comes here.
He probably figured it out. People who work with kids can pick up on that. I was lucky. I had a really nice instructor. I got along great with her. She was just some student at the college where my dad worked, and he got her to come to our house. And then it turned out that I wasn't actually bad at clarinet. My clarinet was just broken.
Oh,
so then we fixed it, and then it was
fine. Whatever the case, the dog did not sit quietly in the band room.
No, he didn't.
The dog came out and made a scene, and the really mean band instructor kicked Lily out of the band. Mm-hmm. Lily's dad was none too pleased about this when he found them, as he is wont to be. And abandoned our dog Hagen. I don't know if we've given the dog a name, but it's Hagen.
Yeah.
Or Hagen.
It's Hagen.
Hagen.
Like Hagen does.
Hagen.
Like ice cream.
Like ice cream. And Hagen is a really good boy who chases the car.
The scene makes me cry. I always think how sad I'd be if we did that to my dog. Yeah, I probably should have warned you before we had you watch it.
I was prepared.
Okay, cool. I mean, it is like a violent movie about dogs, so.
Yeah. But there, we then see. I mean, we see Hagen on his own, but we also see there's this whole thing with raw meat in this movie, and we see Lily that night like eating raw meat, and her dad catches her.
I was like planning to ask you about that because I thought it happened like the first or like earlier on, but I remember it's when after they drop him off.
Yeah, they. I mean, it's again. There's this, the butchering in the beginning. There's her eating raw meat here, and then raw meat keeps coming back as like a motif. And I don't know. This is the first like very. I guess you could look at the butchering part as like this is like a normal thing that happens with raw meat, and this is the first sort of like augmented thing that happens with raw meat in that there's a human girl eating it.
And doesn't the dad, if I remember, I didn't write it down, but doesn't he say something like you're eating it like a dog or something?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's sort of Lily is, I think, for much of this, not much of this, Lily is trying to bridge this gap of, like, we're not so different thing.
Absolutely.
Oh, like her character?
Yeah,
okay, not like... So she's the, like, bridge between humanity and dogs.
Or she would like to be, at the very least.
Yeah. She kind of is, though, like... in the end.
Yeah.
Like she's like the human without the terrible human, quote unquote, human mindset. Like I don't know.
She's the good ally.
With the dogs.
Yeah, she is. I mean, at least
she's the accomplice. Well, more ally, I guess.
Yeah.
Not really as much an accomplice.
No, not an accomplice. She does not do the things that the dogs do.
All dogs.
We have. I mean, this fucking. The way they direct these dogs in this movie blows. So that Hagen finds this dead dog, and Hagen doesn't speak, but there's this. He gives this look like
like he's acknowledging death, and it's fucking weird.
There's a really good article or interview on NPR with the lady who trained the dogs. Her dad trained the dogs in Beethoven and Cujo, or is it Cujo? It's Cujo.
Cujo.
Yeah. And I guess she like grew up in like a dog training family, but she has like all these really cool explanations about how she gets that like sad behavior and happy behavior out of dogs. It's cool.
Yeah.
I had whenever the movie opens and it's like all the dogs are rescues. I was watching it with my friend who was here, and he was like, "Okay, they used rescues, but were any animals harmed in the filming of this movie?" So I was like the whole time I was like, "Oh no, I hope they weren't mean to them."
No, they weren't. She has this whole explanation about how like they would, to get like a dog to act mean, they would have like a toy, like when you're playing with your dog, like stealing a toy from them. Yeah, and then she would like reward it for doing that and give it a cue. So they learn how to do that on cue. And actually, she talks a lot about how like being nice to the dog gets like the right behavior out of them. It's cool. She sounds like a really cool lady.
Yeah.
I had to look it up later because I was like, it was on my mind. I was like, I know they didn't, but
but maybe they did. Yeah. But it seems like they didn't. The director seems like a pretty rad dude, and the woman who trained these animals, like... Yeah,
well, you can't work... you can be mean to animals to get them to be mean, but it doesn't make them safe to work with. And if you want to get them to do anything, like, difficult or, like, that takes a lot of mental, like, intellectual challenge, you have to be nice to them.
And there's a lot of that in this movie.
Yeah, like, the dogs can really act.
That definitely comes up later.
Yeah. But Hagen finds some mutt friends. Also, again, at a butcher, he finds all these other dogs hanging out outside the butcher, like eating up scraps, and the butcher gets in this big thing and chases them all away.
Mean old butcher.
But again, they do this. The dogs are looking at each other, and there's these whole scenes
it's all coordinated. It's all like psychic or something.
There's these whole scenes of dialogue without any words in them. It's fucking wild.
It's really good.
I remember, before I watched this, because I hadn't seen this before. Before I watched this, I don't know why. Like in my head, I expected like subtitles for the dogs.
Like Homeward Bound.
Not where like people speak. Like there wouldn't be any speaking or anything. Like it was just subtitles in my head.
Yeah, just like in parentheses, these are what they're thinking to one another. Or Garfield thought bubbles.
Let's only thing to lose are our leashes. Something like that.
Oh my god, that would be so good. The only thing we have to lose is our leashes.
Yeah, no, but I mean, you didn't need words. Like there was never a point where what they were trying to communicate wasn't communicated. It was cool, and it just
happened.
Yeah, it was wild. And then the fucking Gestapo shows up, and just like the again, there's like this whole. I keep relating it to like ICE and immigration, things like that. I don't want to get too deep into this because I don't know that much about Hungarian politics, but a year after this movie came out, it was the European refugee quote unquote crisis was going on, and even before that, but in 2015, the year after this came out, Hungary started erecting their border fence to stop refugees from crossing the border without being registered.
Gotcha.
And so this was like something that started in probably 2012 or 2013.
So this would have been discussed when they were...
Yeah.
This would have been like in the political...
This would have been in the arena when this is going on.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think it's probably related to this, but again, as a American, I go, these dog catchers are fucking ICE, and fuck them,
I mean, I don't want to make too many comparisons that way because it starts to sound like we're comparing dogs to people, but or people to dogs rather. But Yeah, it's definitely an allegory for like any other population in a society, and like there being, sorry, Pooch, you were about to say something.
I can't even remember what I was going to say, to be honest. It was just like something little.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like that whole, you get that whole feeling of like, you're a dog, and it's like, you're in a human world.
Yeah.
Like everything is, you're like surrounded by human laws and like rules and everything, and if you don't know what they are, like you break one, you can, like, you're totally just screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point, especially like, it's sort of like a thing I keep hearing people bring up now, especially with this like discourse around white people calling the police on black and brown people for like no reason, and pointing out that everybody breaks laws all the time because there's so many of them, and the way they're enforced really just comes down to who you are and who catches you. And I imagine that like is tenfold for a dog that can't just like look up the legal code or talk to somebody about it.
I mean, when he first gets left behind, there's that scene of him trying to cross the street, just like trying to get across the street and just like having no concept really of how traffic works.
And he has to look at the other dog to get like cues, the Dalmatian.
Yeah, like he looks at the dog, and then I remember like this scene stood out to me. Like I kind of put a star by it, but like there's a part where he looks at the other dog and he looks up at the like street crossing sign, and it's like a human crossing, like.
Oh, shit.
Like, just what you thought, like, it was just, like, something that stood out, like, this is, like, it's made for, like, this is a human, it's all human, like, it's a human world, it's made for humans.
That's a good point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just, doubling down on the point of, I am a foreigner in this. I keep going back to, like, humans as dogs thing. I don't want to harp on that too much, but, like, I am not of this land, and I'm just fucking stuck here now.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, I didn't even think of that. That's really good. So where are we next?
This is kind of the weird thing, because the most othered person in this entire movie, the person most outside the regular norms, is the person that finds Hagen and protects him from the dog catchers and immediately turncoats him. And a street person finds Hagen and protects him, and then this street person is a fucking asshole, and it sucks that like there's no cohesion, I guess, in message.
Well, but it kind of is, because like when you have a society that's built this way where there's such gross inequality, it sort of prevents solidarity among different groups. So you have, for example, like people who are maybe poor but still have a little bit more privilege than other people will revert to like, white supremacy or something to kind of
they're invested in that.
Yeah, so like there's at least one person below me.
Yeah.
This is like, your ally that you can't trust.
She's still a human.
Yeah.
She's still a human, and like this is like, I mean, it's more or less, this thing is more or less meat in a way.
Yeah.
Like something to be traded or sold off.
And he sells it to a guy who deals in meat.
Yep.
Yeah.
But don't worry, he doesn't kill Hagen.
No.
Hagen does not become dinner.
It's maybe worse. I don't know. In the midst of this, we Lily is looking, and it's been weeks. She goes to like pound. Oh wait, no, she doesn't go to a pound yet. But she is looking for her. She's putting up signs. She starts. There's this whole thing about the kids in her band being told to go see Tannhauser, which is opera by Wagner, and it's I don't. This is another thing. Maybe it's important, and I think it is, but none of the people go. None of the kids go. But Tannhauser is something that like lots of Wagner is about, and it's a story about the struggle between sacred and profane love, which is I sort of think there's
like
some
it's important to the love between like Lily and Hagen, kind of.
Yeah, and like what does like her dedication to this animal mean, I guess.
So would this be the sacred or the profane?
Well, and I think that's more of like who's looking at it.
Okay.
This might be a reach, but
I just don't. I'm not really good at that type of metaphor. I don't know. So you're gonna have to explain it to me, I guess.
I mean, just in this idea that sacred love. I mean, she believes there's like a love, a very true, connection between her and Hagen that's like pure and real and all that. And, everyone around her is looking at this as, in the same way of, it's the
look that like people give me when I let my dog lick my face.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
good.
perfect.
Okay.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So this is the weird look that my neighbors give me when they hear me talking to Penny like she's a baby.
Yeah, but on
Yeah,
top
like,
of that,
it's like you're crossing the line, or like you're crossing that boundary.
Okay.
Too much or whatever.
and on top of that, it's a mixed breed mutt.
Okay.
Like who she loves. I don't know. That's sort of what and she. I mean, again, none of the people went to it. When the teacher called them out, what did she say? It was
said
so
it's
good.
about love, which you wouldn't understand because you're heartless.
Yeah, which is fucking
great.
rad. But yeah, Hagen, what's going on? Yeah, Hagen gets sold a couple of times eventually to this dude who wants to fight Hagen. And it's not like that graphic visually to watch, but you have an understanding of what's going on.
They put it in there. They make sure you know.
It's pretty. Yeah.
Oh, I hate that scene. Him training Hagen to be a fighter is like him like breaking Hagen is terrible to
this
me.
Beautiful, sweet dog, and
With
it's
the face.
Oh.
It's weird because when he
And the
buys
collar,
Hagen,
it's like-
it almost seems like he recognizes that he's a good dog and wants to like rescue him from being like a fighter dog. Because he's like, the guy tells him this is a lap dog. He's like, I don't care, I want it, and he kind of lovingly carries him in, and then he gets out the whey protein and the syringe, and you're just like, fuck, this isn't gonna be good.
Yeah, once I saw like him, he like raised that crop. I was like, oh god.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's weird. Again, we have raw meat. He late in their training, he drills this piece of meat to a board.
Yeah, he also has it on a hook that Hagen has to like jump and get.
Yeah.
oh yeah. It looked. I mean, okay. The circumstance beside, it looked kind of like cute, like he was fishing for a dog almost. But it's like, in the context, it was pretty.
No,
Yeah, he's training him to jump higher and
but
rip things.
that's like a really good way of dealing with the trauma of watching someone train a dog to fight.
Life, so.
Yeah. No, that's good. I think that's a healthy response. But yeah, again, there's something about the idea is the meat being drilled on. There's, I think he wants to get the dog to ignore the meat because he's so angry at the person who's, right? Is that what that exercise is about?
Or just kind of like giving the dog something to be like vicious over. And
Yeah.
also, I think that like having it drilled down is training his jaw.
Oh, that might be it.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be like he was gonna drill it down, and there was gonna be like another dog, and he was gonna be like like starve Hagen or something.
Oh, that'd be awful.
And then so like he's teaching him like you have to kill or get whatever like be vicious to get what you to survive, I guess.
Well,
like, that was what was going on in my
yeah,
head.
and that is like a thing that I mean, I don't know. Actually, this might not be true, but my sister worked at this shelter, and they did a lot of rescues where they would get dogs that had been fighting, and they had a lot of talk about bait dogs or something. Basically, like a dog that's not very tough that they use to like train other dogs to kill dogs, because dogs don't naturally want to fight each other.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because like and I know like a lot of shelters they'll have like those pet adoption fees or whatever, and apparently that's to try and keep people from just like going to a shelter and like getting like bait dogs pretty much.
Oh yeah, I mean it also covers the like cost of the housing the dog, but yeah.
I'm so glad this is something I just don't know that much about. Like, Jesus fucking Christ.
My sister adopted a dog that I think she was bred for. She's like she's a very mean looking pit bull mix, but she has this awful scar on her back leg that somebody had tied this dog up with a rope for a really long time, and she's definitely had puppies. And
poor dog.
But I know that I've also heard that a lot of this stuff is exaggerated for the sake of getting like sympathy and stuff, to get people to adopt, get people to donate, and then there's sort of a racial aspect of like
yes, there is
so
especially
take it with a grain of salt. Like people really just like to stereotype who owns pit bulls and why.
But they eventually this asshole eventually fights Hagen, and there really is this and Hagen wins, and the dog's still breathing, but
I think he kills that dog.
Yeah, but he's
definitely gonna
like
either he's gonna kill it or the owner is.
They're not gonna nurse it back to health.
Yeah. But kind of to your point of what you said earlier, with regards to the homeless person who just picked up this dog and sold him and was not a comrade, it did feel like this, especially with the, it's what would you do for a scrap of meat kind of thing, and in the same way that the proletariat is constantly pitted against one another in these really fucking stupid ways that so that we can't we will still go back to our master in the corner and not bite them, even though they've been treating us like shit for
it's just that feeling like I mean I have to kill, or I have to dominate you, or I have to kill you or something, like they're surrounded by humans, abused and like broken by them, and it's like, well, it's either you or me, like
yeah, exactly.
But then the power goes out. But there's magic in this movie. The power goes out, and Hagen fucking takes off, because he gives this dead dog or dying dog a look, and there's this like acknowledgement of what he's done without using any words, and it's really fucking weird. And he escapes.
Yeah, the scene where he's running away is like such a beautiful scene. It makes, and then like Lily's running up the street, and oh man, but like Hagen running up a dark wooded road.
Yeah,
and it's
triumphant.
It's triumphant and sad at the same time.
It's like run away from this horrible world. Like,
you just know he's crying, like he's like in tears, running away from this horror scene.
In a parallel sense, Lily is having trouble finding any hope in the world, and she ends up going to this party, and it sort of I read in my notes, I wrote acts like a mule, but that's probably the wrong
drug mule?
Yeah, but that's probably the wrong. She holds on to drugs for a boy,
yeah,
to get them into a party. the boy ditches her to make out or do other things with someone else.
Yeah, he's bad news.
And
we don't talk about sex on this show.
No, thank you.
Yeah, this is a Volcel podcast.
Yes. But she, and again, she's feeling kind of nihilistic. She is also can't be more than like 95 pounds. She's a tiny little thing and drinks a lot of vodka.
Yeah, and I don't think she has drank before.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't. She's kind of looks like this is her first time.
Yeah.
For, drinking or doing anything like that.
Yeah.
This is her rebelling against this mean old dad.
Yeah, and the world at large, I think.
Yeah.
But she passes out, and wakes up as the police are raiding this party.
With a dog licking her face.
Yeah, but I think it's not a nice dog.
No, it's a police dog.
It's a cop dog.
I think it's significant that a dog wakes her up. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
it's not a comrade dog.
No.
Yeah, and that's like for me, I was trying to think of the main motifs or the main themes in this movie, and I mean the meat or sacred versus profane, I guess. But one of them that stood out to me was that the dogs know who's good and who's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of the animal that animal sense of they detect, they know, and that comes up. I mean, that comes up later, but they kind of. And they know she's good, so even this police this police dog is coming over and licking her face, which is not what you would have expected, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what Hungarian police dogs are like, but
No, I mean, I have a feeling that generally Hungarian police much less violent than the ones I'm used to. I'm not sure, but
I mean, I've never been there.
still bastards.
I don't want to make any assumptions.
No, yeah, I don't either. No, fair enough. This is where we finally see that Lily's dad is not just a monster, but kind of a human being, which is nice. When he picks her up from the police station and is not just a huge asshole and is just you're growing up, and
He says it's hard to lose someone you love.
Yeah.
And he's talking about, I think, her mother, but then he acknowledges the pain that she's feeling from having lost Hagen and offers to get her a new dog. And she's like, I don't want a new dog.
I kind of thought, whenever I first watched it, I kind of took it, or my first interpretation was he was talking about her, I guess.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, that's sort of what I thought.
That, I feel your interpretation, or of the mother or a Hagen makes more, kind of makes more logical sense. I guess if that makes any sense. But, I thought it as, she's drifting away from him, and he's it's hard to lose, somebody you care about.
Yeah.
After, he run away.
They obviously don't have a super close. They've never had a super close relationship, and so there's a image of a person that forms in someone's head, and Lily is not actually that image.
Yeah, he does mention her being grown up now or something.
Yeah.
So that could be part of it.
Yeah, but so he's lost a person who maybe was never real in the first place because she was a little kid who's not quite an independent person yet who could make decisions about their lives. And so when he comes across her again, and actually has to form a relationship with her as a person who gets to make decisions, it's that image of her is just stripped away, and
Yeah.
it's kind of traumatizing, I guess.
Yeah, that would be rough.
Definitely.
During this time, Hagen finds one of his dog comrades from earlier before.
Little Jack Russell guy.
Yeah, his little Jack Russell Terrier that's so cute, and they're just buds, and it's adorable.
Oh my god. I love that dog so much.
But then animal control comes and swoops them up. And they bring him to the pound, and
And it has a moat for some reason.
there's a couple of these weird driveways that are just flooded. I don't.
Yeah, I was like, is there no like drainage, like right here?
Maybe, I don't.
Because there were 2 places like that.
It just looked like a mosquito infestation.
Yeah,
waiting to happen.
it looked like
Gross.
Yeah, it looked gross. But yeah, the meat butchering place also had one of these weird little. I'm guessing it's just like a speed bump, but upside, going the other way.
And they just fill up with water.
I think it just they just don't
like,
drain them.
It rains. So,
yeah, but
that's really gross.
It's so gnarly.
I just imagine it was just like, oh, they made this like it dips down or whatever, for whatever reason, and then it's just like there's not any runoff or way to like drain it, and so it just fills up.
I think you're right.
And festers. It's just
pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
but the one at the pound is full of dog
mosquito
poop.
larvae.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's gotta be just like dog poop running off into that thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gotta be so gross.
Speaking of, there's like, whenever, I might be jumping forward. I'll save that.
Okay. So they take Hagen to the pound, and Hagen has this injury from fighting, and the lady who's intaking the dogs is like, no one will adopt him, send him to like the kill room, and they show her euthanizing another dog there, and she really does seem genuinely like upset that she has to do this thing, but she's still killing a dog.
And I thought it was the first, like when I saw this, I thought that was the Jack Russell.
Yeah, I did too.
Dog was.
But it wasn't.
No.
But I thought it was.
The Jack Russell was healthy enough where they assumed that someone was going to adopt
Jack Russell dies a hero later on.
Yeah. But in that scene, again, we have one of the cartoons that features Hungarian Rhapsody #2, and it's Tom Cat is playing on the piano. It's from the Cat Concerto. Fun.
Yes.
And
a famous. I used to love Tom and Jerry, so I was like, I totally remember his little tuxedo button.
It's so good. Yeah. But yeah, the dogs are really into it. Like all the dogs in the room are watching this TV. It's very fucking strange.
Yeah, dogs don't really watch it.
But Hagen eventually.
What's going on in there?
The husky is crying. Our next door neighbor's husky is.
It's really upset. It's
very upset.
Y'all need to go check in.
No.
Break the door down.
No, huskies are just like
they're noisy dogs.
Noisy, cryy dogs.
They're huge crybabies.
But Hagen bites someone who was potentially going to adopt him, which is, because at this point Hagen is tripping into like full fucking revenge mode, just like fuck people mode.
He doesn't trust those fucking humans. I would.
Yeah, definitely some degree of trauma, or like.
Oh yeah.
Your acute trauma, definitely.
He's just becoming aware. He's woke now.
Yeah.
He's aware of the class dynamics.
I would say this is post woke Hagen.
This is insurrectionary Hagen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is all going on while Lily is having her concert finally. And so there's these two parallel things sort of going on. Again, they're playing Hungarian Rhapsody #2 at this concert. Hagen is being taken away from this cage he was kept in, and while he's doing that, being brought to like the kill cage, he escapes free from the handler, and then eventually rips his throat and murks this dude.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a great.
Yeah.
Like that was just like a great scene, and all the other dogs are like watching.
Yeah.
They're just all crowded. They're like crowded around.
Yeah, and then they break out, and then we have these amazing this next half hour of amazing choreographed dogs in a way that I've never seen done before.
I think if this was an American film, they would have done this with CGI, but these people stepped up to the challenge.
There's like 200 dogs that are
just totally taken over.
They're running through the streets of Budapest. Is that where it is? Is that what they said it was?
I think it's Budapest. I'm not sure, but I mean, again, so this music is playing in the background, and so there's sort of like this. Again, it's in a lot of cartoons, and there's sort of what did you describe it as when they were like, do you say like Home Alone or what did you say?
Oh, like Dennis the Menace dogs?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like most of what they're doing is just mischief.
Yeah.
They're just like ripping hoses out of people's hands and stealing meat and like...
Purses are being strewn about.
Like, as soon as they approach some people, I'm like, okay, they're about to start like just tearing these people to shreds.
Yeah.
But they just kind of run past them and they're just like just messing with them a little bit.
They mostly just fuck shit up.
Taking the food back.
Yeah.
They're re-seizing the food.
Yeah.
They eventually, like, people start running into the concert hall where this is all, where the music's being played for, just as, like, the kind of famous swing part of this song starts and gets interrupted. And, Lily absolutely is just sure that this is Hagen's fault somehow.
Yeah, I don't know how she knows.
Again,
she's like, I gotta go get Hagen.
I mean, this is...
She has like that psychic dog sense that all these other dogs have.
She's just in tune.
I think, she just knows exactly.
It's sacred love.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, it was Budapest, and there's 250 dogs.
Holy fucking shit.
I just looked it up.
Awesome. Fur block, baby.
Fur block. Is that what you just said? That's amazing. Oh my god. They should have worn masks.
Yeah,
It's
they
not
would have
safe.
been safer if they had worn masks. I don't know.
Like those little doggy bandanas that like we put on our dogs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like my Twitter happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Just all the dogs. 250 little bandanas, you know. But you get this really cool scene of Lily borrowing that asshole who ditched her bike, and riding around, and then and there's no one on the street. Like, everyone has abandoned, like, there's a car sitting out in the middle of the road with no one there. And she, like, all of a sudden, hundreds of dogs turn the corner and start running past her. And it's the only one, it made me think of that scene in the original Jurassic Park movie where there's the Gallimimus are...
You're such a nerd.
No! It's a fucking cool-ass scene.
Those are like, okay, like those are the little...
The raptor things?
Dinosaur-looking things? Yeah, like the little
no,
raptors.
they sort of look like ostriches.
Okay.
Except without feathers, you know. They have, like, big, long necks, and Sam Neill and the kids are running through the field, and the Gallimimus basically swerve around them most of the time and jump over them once they fall, and I don't know, it looks similar, but dogs instead of dinosaurs.
Yeah, and real dogs.
And real fucking dogs.
Not CGI.
Yeah.
Those were real dinosaurs.
That's a good, like, comparison, I guess. I wouldn't have thought of that right away.
I don't know. I just really like that movie. So the dogs start, like, basically murdering people who wronged Hagen specifically. I don't know.
Hagen is their leader. I mean, some of it, like, okay, the dog training guy really did wrong a lot of dogs. The homeless guy definitely was selling a lot of them. But the lady who called it in, who snitched on Hagen initially...
It wasn't even... And Hagen wasn't even necessarily in the apartment when she,
how
like...
did they know?
The snitch, like, goes into the dad's apartment.
Yeah,
and
that's what... saw her body, I was like, okay, this is the dad, because the dad was like, suspect, or like, the first person, I guess. So I was like, oh shit, like this is gonna be a problem.
Yeah,
but it's the neighbor or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, which again, they're just like Hagen has some grievances and has an army of dogs to take up these particular grievances, which is maybe a critique of sort of I there's got to be a better word than mob rule, but spontaneous mob uprisings, is that there might be someone at the head of this mob uprising who has a bone to pick.
That was. Do you mind if I just like skew on a tangent, on just like a totally random tangent?
Please do.
This is okay. So I mean, since I've been in DC and seen a bunch of like founding fathers type stuff. That was apparently a thing whenever, like, before the quote unquote unaptly named Revolutionary War, is that like all the rich like the founding fathers or whatever, they would try to like incite these like revolts or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
Of like poor people, so like they would try to get them to, but like for specific reasons. It was kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like that.
Well, I mean, the whole Revolutionary War was these guys didn't want to pay their taxes.
Yeah.
But then they started getting freaked out because because there were a ton of poor people back then, just like now, and so like they eventually like just lost control of these people. Like they were just trying to get them to attack like a certain place or a certain thing, and they would just start like breaking people out of jails and stuff like that.
Nice.
And so they're like, and then they became like, oh, we can't, hurt anyone's property, because they're like, we have property.
Yeah, we have property too.
Oh, I still want to do. I wanted to do initially like a podcast where we just went over like historical figures that people like and talk about why they're trash, and I really wanted to do, basically like the whole American founding story. And how it was that exactly trash. What you just said, but then also as soon as America was like a separate country, they completely 180. Like the Whiskey Rebellion is the first civilian rebellion.
They're like, oh fuck, we need to turn it down.
They fucking brought the military in to put down a civilian protest. George Washington wouldn't support the Revolutionary War in France because they were killing too many rich people. It was too much of like a proletarian uprising for his taste.
And he had, and I know, like, I mean, okay, this is a very general summation of facts, but like, since Washington was like, he was the richest person in what would be the U.S. at the time, like he stood out a lot among his soldiers because they were all just like, dirt poor, just like, recruited, just trying to survive type people.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's this like, this rich guy like traveling like with his own like tent and all this food and all this stuff. And apparently like there were mutinies, and he had a lot of like his own soldiers like shot because they were.
Oh, really?
They didn't. I believe so. I feel like somebody's gonna listen to this and like just totally correct me on everything.
Well, we don't have a whole lot of listeners who are very into the American founding myth, so...
As far as I know. Yeah,
except,
I mean...
like, Bartow's dad, I think, listens to...
They would, like, correct me, like, no, it wasn't George Washington, it was XYZ or something.
Oh, okay. Well, somebody sucked.
I like this narrative either way, and I'm totally cool with presenting it as canon now, even if it wasn't before this... the start of this podcast.
But there were definitely soldiers of his who mutinied, and or like either before he was there or during or after. I'm honestly like, now I'm getting paranoid about my own ability to know things.
Well, if you want it stricken, we will cut this, but
no, I'm into it. This stays, damn it.
Okay.
Okay. Again, there's sort of this juxtaposition been going on, and that we've only seen one half of so far, and it sort of completes itself here. At one point, Lily, while she's riding her bike, falls off and scrapes her knee really bad, and there is blood. But then it really gets emphasized. The juxtaposition gets completed when the dogs killed one of the buyers and sellers of Hagen, who is the guy who owned the deli and grocery store. And Lily finds him. First of all, there's just blood all over the window, which is, and there's just deli counters behind them. And then they go in, and Lily finds this dead body, and there's just like meat all around.
And they didn't eat any of the meat. And
they didn't want the meat, and it becomes this sort of idea of like what is like the jump between, she gets sick when she sees this dead body, but there's
that's a great point.
There's not not necessarily this huge visually. There's not a huge distinction being made between the meat that we're eating and the meat that was this asshole who sold dogs and is now a dead thing on the ground.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't even. I was just saying, like, I didn't even. I mean, that was just a good point. Like, I didn't even think of that. Like, I mean, I'm just gonna sum up what you, or like just repeat what you said. I guess, like, he's a dead body now in this place where there's, constantly dead meat and dead bodies. But then it's like, when it's him, it's different. Yeah, but
I mean, they didn't want the meat. They did want the meat. They just wanted. She calls her dad. She picks up a dead man's cell phone and calls her dad, which I
was like, do not do that. They're gonna think you killed this person.
Yeah. Rule 1 when you find a corpse is just leave their phone alone.
She's in on this with the dogs.
Yeah. Ally.
Yeah.
But yeah, she calls her dad and says the dogs didn't want the meat, in a very cryptic message to him. But
there's blood everywhere.
Yeah,
the
there's
dogs
blood everywhere.
There's a dead guy.
Yeah, but they did want the meat. They're just not like what we would care to eat as meat.
Well, they didn't eat the people either.
No, I guess they didn't.
They just
really.
wanted to kill people.
Yeah, the dogs just have fucking bloodlust, which is,
yeah.
Scary.
I hope that our neighbor's dog crying is not getting picked up on the mics. I feel like I need to say that we've heard this dog crying in like a dramatic fashion before, and it turned out the dog was just getting a bath.
Yeah, no.
So like,
yeah.
I don't think our neighbor's like abusing their dog or anything.
He's very sweet to the dog.
Yeah, I've seen him carrying it around like a baby.
On my end, it's very faint.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
not like I can hear you guys.
Yeah.
I can also, if I listen hard enough, I can hear this husky in the background.
Yeah.
This is
but it's not ruining anything.
We planned this just for dramatic effect.
Yeah. What else has happened? The dogs run around. They meet some fucking riot police who open fire on them.
Yeah, this scene was hard for me because I don't know if I'm supposed to feel super invested in the dogs being successful here, but I am.
I think you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the point.
Like, just see furry comrades getting gunned down, and every one of them is like a tragic loss to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh fuck, this is the end.
Yeah.
Yep. But they turn around and they escape this tunnel where they'd found themselves trapped, which as
Hagen
someone
is not scared at all.
No, Hagen is a brave boy. Hagen creates a diversion at one point and draws all this gunfire while a pack of dogs come from the other direction and jump. And this is all stuff I've never faced live ammunition like that before, but I have been part of different groups of people on the street where a lot of these things have happened, where you're going down.
Yeah, it's very similar.
You're going down a tunnel or road or something like that, and at the end of that road there is a fucking SWAT team there, riot police there, and and you have to bail out, or you have to create a diversion. I've done that exact thing before, where someone has gone around and like drawn not one person, but like a small group has gone around and drawn police attention while the rest of us go in the other direction around them. And I'm just like, I don't know, it's
This
so
dog
cool
has
watching dogs do
knowledge.
this.
Yeah. And I just like kind of before that, whenever they're running headlong into these snipers, and Hagen apparently learns about gunpowder and, you know, firearms and stuff like right away.
Hagen's a good boy.
But there's like this moment he gives this, like, he looks kind of to the side and he's like seeing his like dog comrades falling, and there's like you've been saying, there's this weird moment where like you can hear him, or it's almost like you can hear him saying it is like, oh, I'm fighting this war, but they're, you know, my men are dying, or like my comrades are dying, you know, it's like, and then he like pulls them all back almost.
Yeah, there's this point where he crashes into another dog and forces the other dog to go back with him, and then all the dogs start turning around and go. I don't know. It's so cool to watch. It's like every movie that has like a general and he just grabs somebody. He's like, pull back. And
Yes.
like, it's exactly like
Gosh,
that.
imagining like planning this out, scripting this. For first of all, just scripting it must have been taking so much creativity, but then also being like, now we have to train real dogs to do this.
Yeah, you were saying the dog trainer had said something like, well, as soon as we got to 100 dogs, you know, the director was like, why not 200? But so Lily finds this little terrier, who then
Little Jack Russell.
the little Jack Russell.
He's like the second, or like the messenger to
Yeah.
for Hagen.
Who then is, I think, trying to lead her to Hagen. It's, again, words aren't being spoken.
He definitely is saying something to her, though.
Yeah, and he dies a hero's death trying to get her there.
Yeah, oh my god, that scene was brutal.
A cop just...
And the cop looks so evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All cops are bastards in this movie.
Particularly this one.
This one has a special cop evil.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, it's a fucking Jack Russell Terrier. Like,
And it just like gun him down. Like
Yeah.
it's this one little dog.
if you get hurt by a Jack Russell Terrier, that is your fault.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. But she eventually... Say again?
There was I was watching this movie. My stepmom didn't watch it with me. She definitely couldn't have handled it. But she told me there was a story of this. I mean, it's tragic, but like this woman got killed by like a pack of wiener dogs or something.
What the fuck?
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but damn.
I had the same reaction. I mean, but like apparently this is real. Like this woman was killed by okay, now I'm thinking like this is something made up because it just sounds way too weird.
I'm gonna Google it.
But this is she was telling me this, like that this woman got killed by a pack of wiener dogs or something.
Man, I mean, I guess
we'll see if the
Oh
fact
no!
comes out.
Officials waiting on medical examiner's report for woman killed by pack of dogs. Oklahoma woman mauled to death by a pack of 7 small dogs.
Oh man, I mean,
How?
yeah, I don't.
This was recently.
Yeah.
This article is May 21st, 2018.
Whoa.
The dogs
Breaking.
each weighed less than 40 pounds and belonged to one of Garcia's neighbors. They killed all the dogs.
Oh.
Yeah. So I guess I don't know if they were wiener dogs or not, but I mean they're
Small dogs.
They were 6 of the dogs appear to be a Dachshund and Terrier mix, while the 7th appeared to be a Border Collie mix. Oh, little Penny dog.
Oh.
Penny, please don't turn on me. I love you.
So this is not totally out of the realm of possibility, and we should all be nice to dogs just in case.
Yeah, exactly.
But still, this is just one little tiny dog running
Yeah.
down a huge abandoned street.
Yeah, it's fucked.
It's just like how all to the teeth, like against these like against things that aren't or like a threat. It's like so just this like very disproportionate violence.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, and
And the way he puts his little belly up. Oh my god, it was brutal.
good acting.
Absolutely good boy.
But Lily eventually gets to the meat plant where her dad is, and the dad is struggling a bit with like his ID card and getting her in and all this shit.
Grabbing a flamethrower.
But
why do they have flamethrowers there?
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe to like dispose of meat that wasn't up to par.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I've seen that, and I'm not entirely sure, but that is a thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Good.
Word. Glad
thank
we brought you on.
Yeah. That's the.
And I don't know exactly why, but that like I've seen that before. Like where there a lot of times where like people will like spray it or like flame it or whatever. Like I don't even know what it's for, but I know that's apparently a thing.
Oh man. Well, I'm so glad to know.
You can source me on that as a scientific source.
I don't know. I tried to
It is a
Google it,
thing.
and I'm just getting Elon Musk's boring flamethrower.
Yeah,
Yes,
lame.
computer.
It is really boring.
But
I'm glad it is a company called the Boring Company.
he's
Well, he
okay.
is really boring, but
He is.
But Hagen shows up first and does not actually look pleased to see Lily at all.
yeah.
Kind of mean. Hagen barks, and about 100 other dogs show up.
Yeah, it
and,
looks like he's about to sick his friends on Lily.
Yeah, and everyone's getting really nervous. And then Lily pulls out her trumpet and plays Hungarian Rhapsody No. 2. And again, one of the coolest things I've ever seen. There are 100 dogs that all lie down, and they
Yeah, how did they get them to do this?
And then Lily lies down with them, and then her dad lies down with them, and the movie ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, what did you make of this ending? Because I wasn't sure, like, what they're saying here.
I thought, okay, the thing that came to my mind is that, like, or the comparison was that, like, she's like a Pied Piper of sorts.
Okay.
Like, because I guess, like, the symbolism with the like, especially at the end, like, whenever she's playing the trumpet, and then they all, like, this horde of dogs, like, all kind of change their tune. Like, that was kind of my takeaway, and it was also, like, that the connection to, like, the human world, or, like, the brutal aspects of the human world, or, like, being stripped away from the dad as well. Like, it's starting to, I guess, like, that, what we might say is, like, revolutionary is starting to spread to people who are invested in, like, this sort of oppressive society.
Okay.
Interesting.
But,
Yeah,
but
I
like,
can see
again,
that.
like, with like my Pied Piper theory or whatever, is that she's not necessarily the one that's, like, leading these dogs, like, like in the fable or whatever, like, the rats are being led through. But that was, like, my first thing. I was like, this looks like the Pied Piper or something.
I mean, there's lots of mythology where, like, beasts are tamed with music. Or
Yeah.
soothed. Like,
Saint Patrick, right? Isn't that him?
no.
Wait, who's the snake guy? Who
Oh,
came
maybe
in?
it was-
Who
I
came
don't
and
know.
got the snakes out of Ireland?
I thought that was the Pied Piper.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know.
Well, that was St. Patrick.
Oh, okay, you're right.
yeah,
I was saying,
uh-huh.
Okay. My
That's
thought
why we
was
get,
really
we get trashed.
cheesy. It was Harry Potter with the dog, the three-headed dog.
Oh, yep.
Like,
yeah,
only because
yeah.
I can't think of what that's actually referring to. Probably something from Greek mythology.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, so I sort of took this again. I went, and I'm just blowing smoke, but I looked at the sort of nationalist bent of this
You're always
song,
like the nationalist bent.
of the song that's being played, and sort of took it. Again, there's this great other. That's what we'll define the dogs as, is like a big oppressed other that's raging through Hungary, and then this movie takes a kind of liberal turn as the dogs are reminded just sort of like of what a beautiful place they live in.
The dogs, or like,
well, and that's
bring them into our society, or I don't know if that's what.
No, yeah, I mean, and that's the concession that's being made by like the Lily and her father lying down, and like we're all in this together, sort of, so we're playing this Hungarian theme where the dogs are stopping, they're not literally thinking about like what a beautiful land this is.
It's kind of like when Americans say like we're better than this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like let's all, like, we're all one.
Like the Hillary Clinton, America is already great.
Right.
Like,
I mean,
we're all Hungarians.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And so they're like, okay, and they lie down, and then, dad and daughter, the human representatives, show solidarity. They're like, it's just like, we get it. There's something wrong here. We're gonna work on this. I think is how they're trying to. I don't know. Again, I'm blowing smoke.
Sense in the context of a nationalism sentiment sweeping across a country, and maybe trying to make a movie against that would be like, that's not how this country is. We should be a better country.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like people playing "This land is your land" in America.
For me, I always try to make things like, you do that. You like when you're kind of a revolutionary, like you kind of want to see, or like you see things more revolutionary, like in media, or like you're hoping it'll be.
Yeah, and then it never is.
Like that's kind of how I took it. Was like, okay, like in some sense, like the structure of like human society, which is like this sort of brutal, like class capitalistic racial society, is like it's kind of breaking down in a sense, or like the father is who's invested in that, like becomes sort of, I mean, I guess quote unquote human, but like has sort of a heart at the end, and is like, this is the best way to be, and it's like, not standing, or like, I don't know, being with the quote the oppressed others, or
yeah. I think you're right when you say like when you're like a radical person, you want your movies to be, you want to see more radical stuff in them. So like my perfect movie, the ending would have been like, I don't know, the dogs destroy the pounds, and like the police all are abolished, and there's no more dog catchers,
or meat factories,
and all of the butchers,
and all the humans like live a lot like
alongside the dogs. There's
yeah.
no more like hierarchy. The butcher has to give the dogs meat whenever they want. Like, but like that's not how media is. Like, it's gonna be like, we live in a society. Like, be civil.
Yeah. No, and which is at some level I'd be really disappointed if all the movies I like, or all the movies I watched, like ended with the slant I would like them to have, because it would get really cheesy.
But it would be cool if one movie would end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, if we could get something, because like everything is so.
Yeah, like if I could have one good movie with good politics.
Princess Mononoke. We're gonna do that movie coming up, but that one does. That's about it.
Y'all did do They Live, and that's kind of.
Yep. You're right.
But like that movie, I mean, the movie's not very good. I'm sorry.
Oh, I loved it.
It's good, but it's not like classic film.
It's pretty corny.
Yeah, it's just beautiful corn.
It's like if Adbusters made a movie.
Oh my god, it is.
So yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything like bonus thoughts that you had about White God that we didn't get into?
I'm not really sure. I remember. Okay, so earlier I don't know. This isn't going to be super insightful or anything.
That's okay.
But yeah, you made that.
When we were talking about the water.
Yeah, the water.
The gross dog
and
poop.
dog poop. Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember like when they were all first around like that big puddle of water.
Oh,
and they're all,
yeah.
like, playing in it, drinking out of it,
And then
one
they're
of the
peeing
dogs,
in
like,
it.
just pees in it. Yeah.
It's so gross. Yeah.
I was like, oh my god.
There's like this one puddle at the dog park that my dog always tries to drink out of. And I'm always trying to keep her from drinking out of it.
It's her favorite
It
puddle.
makes me think of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ew.
my dog does that all the time, but he doesn't pee where he eats, so
Yeah.
Very
I
wise.
was like, oh.
Yeah, but this is the filth that they're forced to put up with, you know, by the awful society.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like just sort of shoved underground and fighting for scraps.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know. I'm trying to think of any more parallel or like anything. I guess like one thing that or like one theme that stood out to me a lot, and you know, Barto mentioned this especially, or like kind of outlined this, is that there's this huge like in the cinematography. There's just this big parallel between what Leely's doing and what Hagen's doing.
Mm-hmm.
So like they're doing very similar things like at the same time, but it's like, you know, it kind of switches between the perspectives of the two. So it's like on one instance, like Hagen is going down into this like this sort of underworld, so to speak, like he's, you know, being trained to fight. He's being down there, and then like at the same time you switched over to Leely, who's, you know, in this dark club and is,
Yep.
you know, getting drunk. Like there's just like this sort of common thing. Like they're very much like linked, and everything is in the like their lives are parallel. It just like kind of reflects between like the two worlds.
Yeah.
Like the dog and the human.
Yeah, definitely.
We didn't really talk about that a lot, but that is absolutely like a running thing throughout this whole movie.
The connection between the two of them is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, good. Thank you for pointing that out, because we would be remiss if we didn't mention that at all.
Yeah, that definitely, like, especially whenever she's kind of doing her like concerto, and then they're breaking out. Like I had this feeling like there's going to be a note or there's going to be something that she hits, and that's going to be like the spark that kind of blows up the powder keg or whatever for this whole situation.
Yeah.
And it's kind of I don't remember like a specific instance or whatever, but it is kind of like that. Like this performance is practicing, it's been building up, and then, you know, the performance happens, and then for a Hagen it's like this has been building up. You know, this thing has been building up, and then, you know, bam, this whole thing just sort of like the lid kind of flies off on this, like on how the dogs have been treated.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. But kind of interestingly, and I'm going to be really brief about this because we're going.
That's a long one. It's good though.
But right as really she's about to get into her part, it all gets cut off and interrupted.
Yeah.
As the dogs get there, and there's like this, you know, she's actually able to do her part later at the end of the movie, and is able to, you know, calm everyone.
Smart.
I
like it.
But but yeah, I think there's a certain, you know, they, you know, it's again telling of the ideology behind this, but there's like this, like, you know, if you'd only listen to what they had to say instead of screaming over it, you know, we might not have this situation that we've been in.
Maybe.
Like dogs can be anything. They can be drug catchers. They can be, you know, they can attack criminals. Like, why are you just pushing them away?
Oh gosh, yes. Dogs are an important part of our economy. We've got to let them in so they can do the jobs that nobody else wants to do.
Yeah.
Oh, God. That's awful. Oh, my God. It's so true, though. I hate when people say that shit. Or when people are like, oh, there's so many immigrants in our military. It's important
what
to,
what if he's what if he becomes a doctor?
What if he becomes a soldier and puts his life at risk for this country? Like, what if he just kind of, like, does his own thing? What if he doesn't go to work ever, but just totally enjoys his whole life and is happy and contributes positively to everyone around him by being a nice guy?
What if?
What if?
But how do we market that?
I don't know.
That's the question.
I really hate that it always comes down to, like, what can they do for me? Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean,
So yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything to plug?
Yeah. What do you got going on? Anything you need to jet out there in the world, or just your at?
Yeah. What's your at?
Yeah. So I really don't have anything to plug. I mean, I don't know. Just help your comrades. Love one another. That's my plug, I guess.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, so my at is anarcho_69 is.
Nice.
So the best, yes, nice. The best anarcho, I don't know, split
Anarcho tendency.
Whatever. Yes. So it's 69ist.
Okay.
So you can follow me for my dog pictures and my terrible tweets.
You have wonderful tweets and the best dog second best dog pictures, because I have the best dog pictures.
Okay, that's fair. I'll concede that.
But yeah, we're definitely gonna start like a leftist dog gang for people with black and white dogs, because there seems to be a lot of them.
Yeah, and if you see my dog and Penny's dog, they look like exactly the same. Or Penny.
I'm Penny's dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Penny's human, sorry.
Yeah, Parker's like a short-haired Penny. He also has this expression on his face a lot that Penny has. Like, the pictures where you have him tucked into bed, he has the same expression that Penny has when I do that to her. It's really funny.
That's adorable, guys.
All right,
But
so...
yeah, I don't really have anything to add. I just wanted to say that y'all are doing like a really good job on this podcast.
Oh, thank you.
It's been really great listening. I was like sitting in my car. I would have written like a really long review, but I was like, I gotta be here real quick.
Oh, that's
gonna blur something nice.
We really appreciated it. It was nice of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, y'all are awesome.
Oh, you too.
It's been super awesome to, super thankful to have been able to call in. So
yeah, our first guest. I'm excited that we have a guest. So thank you for doing this with us.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll expect the check in the mail. So.
Yeah, no problem.
Once we start monetizing this.
But yeah. Thank you so much for coming on.
So we're gonna close it out.
Yeah. Follow us on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/the Conquest of Popcorn. Follow us on Twitter at popcorn_pod.
You did it.
Yeah, I did it right. Rate us on iTunes. Send us feedback. Send us DMs. All that shit. We like talking to people. I'm at El Barto Army.
I'm at Pinko_snob.
And thank you so much for listening. This has been a blast. Thank you again for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank y'all for having me on.
All right.
Okay. Have a good night.